it seems like grades are racist or
Something.
histophobic or cause mental health issues. So now the University of Michigan is going to hide freshman grades. Only in one of their colleges, by the way. And it's the same college that does pre-med. I want to point that out.
Oh.
Yes. In their one college, they're going to, it's like literature, science, and like arts. So they're going to hide your freshman grades from you because it makes you feel icky. You either get a pass or a fail, basically. Or no, you don't even get a fail. No credit, which means you failed. And they're doing it because they don't want to hurt your feelings. My next thing is, well, one, how's that fair to all the other colleges? Two, if you can't handle it, then you're not, pass or no credit isn't going to change anything.
Yeah, let's talk about this. We're also going to talk about how in California they're pushing to reinstate the SAT because they have a bunch of students that are completely unqualified, and like you said, some of these people are going into medicine, they're going into science, and I'm sorry, I don't want somebody doing surgery on me that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, that was just given a pass because they were a certain kind of person or whatever. I mean, this is ridiculous. We're going to talk about, we don't have standards anymore. We want people to feel good about themselves, even if they kill other people.
This is why we have so many graduates coming out that can't even read or write and everything else, and they're having to get hired at places, and then they're trying to train them to be people or to be able to do basic things that they should have been able to do. And a lot of the fault is with the public schools to begin with, because they're not teaching these kids. They're not allowed to. A lot of times the teachers' hands are tied and they're passing kids that should never be passed for quotas and shit. And they're not teaching them the bare basic skills. So when they can't get into college, or if they do get into college because they're just waving it, letting everybody in, they either drop out or they pass them through there too, and then you're bringing them into the workplace and they have no idea what the heck they're doing. They can't even do the bare minimum.
So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woo!
Check out the audio version of Clownfish TV. Go out to Clownfish TV Podcasts on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. We are there. Thank you very much for that. So, yeah, we got a couple of stories that are education related. Geeky is a teacher, so she wanted to do this. I'm looking at it like, our society is falling apart. We've got unqualified people working in what used to be highly specialized, highly trained fields, very competitive fields. And when you're dealing, again, especially with medicine or science or something like that, I want those people to know what the hell they're doing.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons they're doing this. One is because, they said mental health. Look, if you're going for pre-med or science and you can't handle gen eds, then you're never going to handle your core content stuff. There's just no way. But I think what colleges are doing is they're doing this because usually a lot of people come in as freshmen, but they usually drop out after freshman year. Usually by the end of graduation, you have a fraction of the kids that enrolled. I know the school our son went to, they were trying very hard to do whatever they could, lowering, the cost for freshmen to come in, letting them schedule ahead of sophomores. That screwed him up on scheduling, almost made him have to go extra time and stuff like that to try to encourage freshmen to attend and have a retention rate. So if they offer this, they're at least they'll get 2 years out of them before they quit, or like an extra semester. So it's more money. Make no mistake, this is about money for the university. But as I'm looking at this as someone who would hire these students, and I'd be like, I'm not hiring from people that went to that college at the University of Michigan.
Yeah. I'd be like, you fuck your feelings. I don't care. Find a job someplace else. University of Michigan's Liberal Arts College said grades for incoming
Liberal
freshmen.
arts.
Liberal arts. Yeah. During their first semester will be hidden and excluded from the transcripts to curb the mental health crisis among students. Starting this fall, the Public Research University's College of Lit, Science, and the Arts will grade freshmen in their first semester solely on a pass, no credit basis instead of letter grades, the school announced in a statement.
They're trying to keep them there like at least 2 to 3 semesters. So it's 1 semester. But still, this is ridiculous. And I'm going to point out that there are multiple colleges there. They have different colleges, different things. Like they have, this is for the arts and stuff like that. But they have other degrees in colleges that are there for that aren't being allowed to have this. It's just this one college in the university. And I want to point out too that they brag that this LSA is where they get a lot of their med school kids from. And I'm like, these are the ones you're going to not give a grade to for the first semester because it might make them feel icky.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, okay, if it's liberal arts, like whatever. This is why, I mean, like, it's a side tangent. This is why I think we get into it more with artists, or, you know what I'm saying, like creative types, because this is the mindset. Like, we don't want them to feel bad, so we're not even going to give them a grade. It's like, well, you can get away with that because honestly, and this is coming from somebody who worked as a creative for years, it's barely a business. It's barely, you know, it's like, it's a lot of people working in the industry are not professional. They can't work anywhere else. It is about feelings over facts. And this is why, you know, artists especially are incredibly touchy, I think, when you challenge their worldview, because their worldview is not being challenged even in college. They're like, well, if you draw real good, you know, you'll get a job at the cartoon factory and be able to work there for the rest of your life. I'm like, that's not actually how it works.
Let me tell you some of these degrees they have in this LSA. Afro-American and African Studies as a major and a minor. I'm like, what are you going to do with that? American culture, anthropology, okay. Arab and Muslim American studies, archaeology, and they have that as a sub-major, by the way, not a major. Art and design, art, AI is a minor now. Arts and ideas in the humanities, Asian languages and cultures, Asian studies. It goes on, then they have biochemistry, astronomy, biology. These are the ones not getting grades, guys. Biophysics, business, chemistry, civil engineering, classical civilization. Okay, what are you going to do with that? Climate and space sciences and engineering. Oh, it goes on. Czech language literature and the study, or cultures and literatures of Eastern Europe as a, you know, these are different minors or majors. Creative writing and literature, major. Data science, earth science, a lot of sciences. Economics is in here. Electrical engineering as a minor is in here. There's a bunch of things that you would think you would need to have people that could pass their first semester. You know, sciences, geology, there's German studies, global theater, and ethnic studies.
Okay.
Greek, history of art, human anatomy. It's like, it's across the board. Like, I can understand like some of the arts and literature things because, you know, those people tend to be the ones that, you know, oh, my mental health, but with science too, because they're all lumped into one department.
Yeah, that's what's concerning.
Law and justice.
Yeah, because these people will actually, if they pass, they will move on to, I guess, more of a real degree where it actually matters, where you actually do need to know what the hell you're doing. And this is, God. Okay, so this is just a problem across the board because you know, I was talking about our neighbor who was a nurse for years. She's a retired nurse, very nice woman, and she almost died from basic anesthesia because I believe the person they hired was not qualified to administer anesthesia, and they kind of hurried her out of the hospital pretty quick. She was just having a very routine like eye injection or something like that. She almost died because they're hiring all these people that don't know what the hell they're doing. And it was a younger person, and yeah, I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem. I'm sorry. Some things you can't just fluff it off. Some things you got to know what the hell you're doing. I don't want you cutting me open if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, well, he'll feel bad. He'll feel bad if he doesn't get to cut your spleen out. It's like, well, I don't even need my spleen taken out. Yeah, I know, but he wants to do it, and he's going to feel bad if you don't let him. So let Jimmy cut you open. Feel bad, right? They said transcripts will state all first semester courses were automatically passed, no credit. Their true grades will be internally recorded for academic awards. Wait a second, so you get awards? It's like, you get a cookie, Jimmy. Look at that. Scholarships, internships, academic advising, professional opportunities. And if a student wants to switch majors outside of the LSA college, students in the LSA college will start seeing their grades recorded and their transcripts and reflected in their GPAs in the second semester, the college notes. So basically, freshman year, you can't hack it. You're having a mental health crisis.
Freshman first semester, at least, yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, if you can't hack it, you can't hack it. Well, they're having a mental health crisis because they're failing. I'm like, isn't it the first year now? They're just basically just redoing high school because nobody knows what the hell they're doing when they go to
they're
college?
doing a lot of gen eds. When you start out, you do some core content sometimes, but a lot of times just general education, and those aren't even the hard ones a lot of times. But you have all these kids that can't even read and do basic stuff. Our son, with all the stories he would tell us, he would sit here and be like, I don't know how these kids got into school. He's like, they had to do peer review, and he would just sit there like, with a red pen just circling everything, because they weren't even sentences. They weren't even things that made sense. Like either was Chat GPT, or it was so bad that he couldn't even make sense of what it was. There was no point to it. It was
6, 7, just
it was
paragraph
just
of 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7.
Understand like how the flip did you get in? And they have a lot of colleges. And this goes to the thing we're talking about with the SATs. A lot of colleges have stopped requiring SATs to get in, and they're so desperate for money now. It used to be there were standards. Now they just let anybody in for a lot of universities because they want that cash. We had a joke around here that the one school would let you in if you could write your name, and the other school would let you in only if you could write your name and spell it correctly.
Oh my God. And it is about the money. It's about the money, because most of these people, I mean, I'm going to be honest, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be putting the fries in the bag, right? And I hate to be that guy, but these colleges are churning out people that are not qualified, and massive amounts of people. Because I always wondered, like, go to the college campus and I look around, I'm looking at all these people. I'm like, there's no way this many people are working in a professional capacity. Just observational skills. Like these people are never going to work in like a professional capacity.
That's why there's a crisis with the companies that are not hiring, Gen Z, and now I'm probably pursuing Gen Alpha, because they can't do anything. Well, I know with Gen Alpha, it's gotten to the place teachers are retiring early or quitting because they don't want to deal with Gen Alpha because they won't do anything. And they're just like, we don't have to, not gonna. And then they're going to get passed because these schools are just like, I don't want to deal with them, so we'll just pass them. And all you're doing is just kicking the can down the road, passing the buck, and it's going to the university level. And a lot of universities are more than happy to accept anyone and take that cash. They don't care how you pay it back. They're as long as you pay them, and you might make it one semester and quit, but or 1 year and quit, but they still got paid. And if they can con you into staying another, semester, then they're going to do it. And they do shifty things all the time to screw you out of being able to get classes to make you stay longer and pay them again. It's a shitty thing. It just is what it is. But I saw somebody else talking about the fact that were in a program once. I'm sorry, I don't know who you were. You were on Twitter talking about it. And they were in a program once where you had to test into it. And they said that when they did, I forget how many guys they said, and like so many women got in, but it wasn't enough.
Sorry, I thought you said they did so many guys, and
but you know what I mean.
Women.
And there wasn't enough women. Okay, there wasn't enough women, so they took, I'm assuming, spots away from some guys that tested in to give it to women. Either way, the women got in. The 3 women didn't even make it through the program and quit. Everybody else who actually earned their spot finished, but those 3 women who just affirmative action given the spot didn't finish the program because it was too hard for them, and they never were going to be able to do it. And there's nothing wrong with the fact that sometimes something isn't for you.
Yeah. And that's it too. We have a lot of people that want to do something, but they don't have the aptitude to do it. And then they get into the workforce, and then look, this is my unified theory of everything. I think this is why a lot of younger people are all pro socialism and communism now, because they're like, I don't want to have to, compete. I don't want to have to, do better. I just want it to be handed to me. And it's
exactly.
Like, well, not the way it works. And the thing is, it's not just about you being comfortable for you. It's about society falling apart because we don't have people that can do the jobs that need to be done to keep things together, right? And because you people are unqualified and unmotivated.
Well, this is why I'd like to see apprenticeships and things like that come back, but then colleges don't get money because, right. At least then, you're getting hands-on training and you're being taught like what to do, and you're not wasting all your time on the gen eds and stuff like that anyway. You're just getting taught what you need to do, and we want you to be well-rounded. No, you want us to stay in school longer so you could take more money. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's exactly
what it is. We need to bring that kind of stuff back because people are coming out, they can't even read and write. They sure as hell can't, do the jobs that and some of them require testing, like teachers, doctors, lawyers. You have to test to get, pass those tests. Even those they've toned down significantly to get your certification. But a lot of people just graduate and you're like, oh, you have a degree, you're good to go. God,
this is okay. This explains so much. So here's some of the quotes from the people running this program. Helping all students establish early momentum has been recognized as the most important element in UM's campus-wide student success initiative. Not making
so
sure
they stay longer and pay more.
Yeah, not making sure they know what the hell they're doing before you turn them loose into the world. We believe that covering grades will help students start strong and curb the mental health crisis unfolding among college-age individuals. Here's why, again, this is why we get so much pushback, because these people are being coddled in college, and they grow up to be coddled adults that cannot deal with the real world.
Well, it's not just that's one semester, but you pass that semester or you get no credit. Even if you do crap, you're more likely to go pay for a second semester instead of drop out.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. You'll pay for a second semester, and then that's when the shit gets real. And then you're like, oh, I can't do this. But they got 2 semesters out of you instead of just 1.
They claim the program will support students' well-being and foster collaboration instead of competition.
Oh, well, collaboration and competition are both elements in the workplace. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this is this goes back to the whole shift in the mindset in the workforce. And I did a video yesterday talking about the Dark Horse Union, and what I think Dark Horse Comics, they've unionized, and I think some of what they're asking Embracer Group, given their financial situation right now, Embracer Groups, is not realistic. And people don't understand this. Like, it's still a business. You're going to compete with other people for job opportunities. Maybe this is why we overhired. We didn't want anybody to feel bad, so we just hired anybody with a pulse. And some people without a pulse, to vote.
Yeah.
But, this is crazy. I don't understand. This is the way the world works. I'm sorry the world isn't the way you like it. But even in the animal kingdom, it is survival of the fittest. And you have to get used to competition. Everything on this planet competes to survive. Everything.
You go
Plants,
for a job
animals,
and there's
everything.
one job and 800 people applying. I'm sorry, that's called competition.
Yeah.
You don't get to collaborate with everybody there and be like, decide, we're going to collaborate and I get the job for a week, then you get the job for the week. It doesn't work that way. And even collaboration, they're not teaching that worth shit in college, because my son had to do group projects all the damn time. And usually it ended up being he had to do the lion's share of the work or redo all their work because they didn't do it or they just used ChatGPT to do it.
Oh my God. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. Similar programs have been adopted by MIT, California Institute of Technology, Swarthmore College, and Wellesley. These are like big schools. Wellesley College, MIT is hiding grades. Do you want somebody working as a rocket science or working on like biochemical
If you're
whatever?
if you're fucking in MIT, knowing how absolutely competitive MIT is, there's no reason that your first semester would have no grades. There's zero. MIT. Zero reason. Zero. And it's getting so bad. Let's just skip ahead to the other thing. It's getting so bad. In California, the colleges, the professors are asking them to please, for the love of God, reinstate the SAT so we at least have a criteria to let people in so they can do the bare minimum. I can't imagine being a teacher in college right now. I can't even wrap my head around it, because I'm hearing the stories from my son, and he went to school about how they treat teachers, about them not doing the work and the entitlement, and writing emails like, yeah, I don't want to do it today, just letting you know, and stuff like that. It's absolutely insane, and I would have probably throttled about 5 students by now.
You want to know why so many companies are absolutely salivating at the opportunity to replace white collar workers with AI? It's not just because of cost savings. It's this shit too. Like
Competency?
The incompetence. Yeah. And I think some people have gotten to the point where they're like, you know what? I will take my chances with the robot, because I can hire 1 or 2 actually qualified people and give them the ability to do more with the robot than hire a whole bunch of idiots. And then once they get in here, they're going to expect to be coddled too.
But here's the good news for the education system and colleges. They've done a fantastic job of making mindless drones that they can just fill full of bullshit. So they go out there and petition and protest and everything just like they want them to, and vote this the right way, instead of just having some critical thinking skills. You guys got what you wanted, but now you have a bunch of people who can't do basic jobs.
So this is Randy Scheckman. Now he's actually saying on the other article here, before we jump into what this guy was saying, this was this is a therapist, I guess, psychotherapist, who said we've gotten to the point where normal stress is being treated like mental health problems.
Yes.
Like a mental health problem. Getting a bad grade is disappointing. It can be embarrassing, can make you anxious, but that doesn't make it psychologically harmful. Actually, it should motivate you to do more. More people should be embarrassed more often.
We've all had bad grades before. I mean, who hasn't?
I've noticed that there is a generational thing. Like I've noticed the younger people are so terrified of being made to look bad. Like they will not fuck up in public.
Oh, they're so afraid of failing. Yeah,
They're
it's
afraid of
just
failing.
ridiculous. Yeah, that's what it is. You're afraid to fail, and it's like what you don't understand is the people that make it in the world, the people that you aspire to be, have failed more times than they succeeded.
Yeah, you just don't hear about the failures, but sometimes you have to have 20 failures before you get success. One of the best movies out there that shows this principle, I think, is Meet the Robinsons, where they're actually celebrating failure because they're like, well, every failure is one step closer to getting it right. It's kind of like a mouse trying to figure out a maze, and you have to like speed run all the failures until you get to that success. And nobody's allowed to fail now.
If you fail, at least you tried. The answer
Yeah.
is to don't try at all. And that's like nothing progresses. Human innovation and that throughout the years has been, amazing. But then back then, I think about the way people thought back then, how they had grit and stuff. And now they're just a bunch of coddled babies who need a safe space if they don't get win their election or something. It's insane. It's just like everybody else, has to get it done. And all this stuff, we need special mental health rooms, and they were doing all the tech companies. We need like a coffee bar, mental health rooms, and yoga and all that stuff. Like, no, you don't. You do that on home. You need to get off your ass, realize that, you know what? No one's going to advance you but you. And the world is hard. And that's the way it is. And mommy and daddy aren't going to protect you forever. So you need to get off your fat ass and go do something.
And the tech companies, yeah, they were the most affected, and they're the ones that have access to the AI. I mean, all these things are related. I do believe that they're using it to save costs above and beyond just getting rid of people that are a pain in the ass. But they're like, holy shit, we spent the last 8 years hiring a bunch of crybabies who want safe spaces, or we could just, let the robot do it. We don't have to deal with that.
If I were people from other departments that weren't, I would be pissed. If I were people who graduated and then and no one gave me a safe space, whatever, I'd be like, hell no, I'd be pissed. And these are basic classes. This isn't even the hard stuff.
So this is, I know, right? This is coming from Bloomberg. This is Randy Schekman, who's a Nobel Prize winning molecular biologist. He thought
Which would have been under science, guys. Molecular biology was one of the majors.
He thought the University of California was right to ditch the SAT. Then he watched so he actually was on board with it. Then he watched a growing number of students struggle with basic science concepts in the introductory biology course he teaches. So he got to see firsthand how stupid these people are because they couldn't even pass the SATs.
And make no mistake, I blame schools. Like I blame public schools a lot for the problems too, because, the government and stuff too, because they're trying to get these kids, allow these kids to skate through and not make sure they understand things, because that's, some kind of racism or microaggression, or, even if they're, it's not a racist issue, it's like a sexist issue or some kind of stupid argument they'll make. It's called just making sure they understand the basics so they can be successful in life. And if they can't, you have to repeat it. I'm sorry. It worked for years for a reason.
You don't want to feel bad. You know what makes me feel bad? Dying on the operating table because the people working on me don't have any idea what the hell they're doing because their teachers didn't want them to feel bad.
They said throughout history, every generation was smarter than the one before it, except for, I think it started with Gen Z is actually not. And I blame all this for that, because there's no standards. There's no, expectations. There's just, push them through and we'll figure out later. And the thing is, you don't understand. You might be like a working age now and agreeing with this. But when you're older and you need people to help you or you need people to do their jobs, they're not going to know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. Schekman's one of thousands of faculty members urging the UC system to reconsider its test-free admissions policy. They argue more students are arriving underprepared for college-level work since the system stopped considering SAT and ACT scores in 2020.
It was the pandemic that stopped that. After the pandemic, because people couldn't take their SATs, which our son was taking the SATs then, they stopped, in some places to require it, but a lot of places don't require it anymore. You can do it. It might give you a preferential standing, but you can get in without it now.
The campaign's gaining traction. University leaders said they will accelerate a review of the policy, reopening a debate that has split the academic community, drawn scrutiny from Donald Trump's administration, and left the UC system as one of the last elite institutions excluding standardized test scores from admissions. The dispute has disposed deeper tension within one of the nation's largest university systems, which abandoned standardized tests as part of a broader effort to make admissions more equitable.
Yeah, because you have to pay for SATs. Well, then make SATs free.
Yeah, there you go. But you still have to be this tall to get on the ride, right? Like if you're not, I'm sorry, if you're not smart enough to do the job that you're going to college for, then you shouldn't be going to college for that job. You should put the fries in the bag.
And again, it's another case, I think, too, of what school you're in, because a lot of public schools are just not good enough. And this is coming from someone who worked in public schools. They're not good enough. And a lot of kids, especially in lower income areas, might not get the education that other kids get. So there is some, things there that's not equitable, to be completely fair. I would recommend taking your kid out of public school and putting him in a good cyber school. Especially, but only if you think they can they'll stay with the work, or you're there to make sure they get their stuff done. Our kids were at cyber school. They outpaced the kids at the public school. That's why, he was marking papers with red pen at the college level, and they had much more stricter requirements. But the one thing about cyber that's nice is if you don't understand something the first time you do it, the lessons are recorded, so you can watch it again and again and again until you understand the concepts. Where a regular classroom, you can't do that so much. They're very, very receptive to offering help and special hours and things like that too. I just recommend it, but you have to have a kid that's going to do the work.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, yeah, our kids will do the work because Geeky was a tiger mom. So she's like,
I'm not that bad.
No, you're not. But like, I mean, that's the thing. And I don't go easy on people either. So
I mean, I just told them to do the best that they can do. I never said you had to always have A's.
No.
That was a criteria I put on myself.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing. Like, there is no desire to be, like, just competition in general for some reason has become this negative thing. And I think about this in entertainment, especially. And, I think I talked about it before, actually, in one of the comic book videos, where the difference between the 90s and today is, like, the people that were super successful in comics in the 80s and 90s, they had a competitive drive. And now it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing to be competitive because you're going to make other people feel bad. And I'm like, have you never read Harrison Bergeron, or have they banned that book in school too? That,
I don't think I didn't read it. Hey, you know what? To be fair, though, I always felt bad for people. Like, I remember it was a spelling bee when I was in second grade, and I was going to win. And I know this one kid studied really, really hard, and he wasn't somebody who got A's all the time like I did. And I know he had to work harder. And I deliberately spelled the word wrong so he'd win, because I felt bad because he honestly worked harder than I did for it. And in that case, you know what? I let him have it, because it's like, I know he worked really, really hard, and it meant more to him than it meant to me. So I let him have it. But then when I was in college, I was like total bitch, and I was like, I got the curve thrown out in all my art history classes, because if like the average grade was like 85 and they curve it, I had like 103. So I'm terrible.
Oh, God. I had that happen one time in high school. One of the tests, I don't know what the deal was, because if I remember the test correctly, it wasn't really that hard. It was in social studies, I think, but almost the entire class failed the test, and I got like a 94. And the thing is, I was kind of my senior year of high school. Like, I didn't give a shit. I had a really bad. You think I'm bad now? I had a really bad attitude.
If we had met in high school, we would not be married. Let's put
Oh
that
God,
way.
no. I was basically Bender from the Breakfast Club. I had some home issues going on. I had a bad attitude in high school. Anyway, I remember the teacher was like, "Yeah, everybody failed this test. I'd like to know why everybody failed this test." And he's like, "Except for Pratt in the back, who sleeps through my class, somehow he passed it with a 94." And I was like, wait, what? I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, and I didn't study for that either. I'm just like, I don't think anybody was paying attention. But I'm also sitting there thinking to myself, like, dude, what does that say about you? Like, I sleep through your class and I passed it, and the kids that were paying attention all failed. Just saying.
When I was, we'll do one more story about it. We'll talk back to this. When I was in college, there was I was art history. I was like really good at art history. And I was in this one class, and I was kept blowing the curve. Well, the people that were my friends in the class, they're like, who is this asshole who keeps messing up the curve and everything else? And, who is this? I'm like, I don't know, but they're complete dick. We need to do this, that, and the other to them. And they're like, yeah. I said, I wish we knew who it was. So we could kick their ass, and everything else. The whole time it was me. And at the end of the year, they found out it was me. They thought it was hilarious, because I was just like, we need to get that effort and show them, like, you need to tone it down, butthead. You need to stop so you can help everybody else in the class. And then it was me the whole time.
And then
they thought that was funny.
You would grow up to be a YouTuber that people hate because you just tell it like it is, and you're blowing the curve for them too, because they don't like to hear it. And that's what this whole thing is. They don't like to hear it because they've been coddled throughout school, and then they're coddled in college. And then for the longest time, all their employers were coddling them too. And now it's over. And I think there's going to be a bigger mental health crisis because a lot of people are going to have the rug pulled out from underneath them.
Yes.
When they realize, holy shit, I'm almost 30. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing and nobody will hire me because I don't know what I'm doing because somehow I skated through life.
Well, it's because everybody failed you.
Yeah.
And then but you also failed yourself. And the thing is, it's like, this is all about money. Make no mistake. This isn't about mental health. This is about the university getting you to stay longer so they can make more money. That's what this is about. And they said Harvard, Yale, Brown, and other elite universities have restored testing requirements after recent years of research suggested standardized test scores correlate with student success. Columbia was the final holdout, and they said they're going to require standardized test scores too. So, that it just proves that you have to have a bare minimum to get in. I thought they usually went by grades, but again, if they're just passing you and the competition's mild, you could have be the top student in your class and be like a mid student in other places.
It's like Netflix. Thanks for calling the University of California. You've graduated. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know, right?
For an extra $50, you can be valedictorian. What do you think about that?
But this is, because that's what this is about. I'm telling you, this is going along. But it's about the money. When I was there, I was an art education major. And because of that, music was the same thing because my sister did music. They required us to have 30 more credits than other education people. And then, so we had to stay longer. And it was stupid. And my sister had to take a bunch of stuff credit free because she couldn't take more credits, but it was required. And they had to put the kibosh on that because it wasn't fair. But at least you had to pass. And you had to do the extra work. And I always found it funny when teachers act like I'm a babysitter because I'm like, I had to take more credits than you did. And I had to pass the praxis with the time for content areas that you teach that I wasn't even trained for. And I passed it. And I did well. I got in the first try. But I'm just saying, it's just they made it used to be so hard. And now they've dumbed it down so bad that people, like you said, it's not setting you up for success. It's setting you up for years of mental health issues, real legitimate mental health issues. Not, I'm disappointed because I didn't pass a class. Take the class again. That's what I had to do.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
It's just, I just can't, I can't wrap my head around this because again, when we were kids, when we were youths, way back in the day, school was hard. School was hard. And,
well, it's harder in a lot of places.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it was so weird. Cause I used to bounce, I told people this, I used to bounce back and forth between California and Pennsylvania. But when I went from Pennsylvania to California, failing was 10 points lower than Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania failing was under 70. And I think California.
No, it was for me, it was 74 or lower.
74 or lower was, yeah.
Yeah. It was 75 to 80 was a D.
And
or 79, 74, 75, 79 was a D.
Your teachers would shame you if you had a grade in the 80s. Okay. California, when the school I went to, it was 60 was passing. I'm like, this is why everybody's so fucking stupid.
It's even worse now. They have it lowered even more now. It's 50% failing now.
But that's okay, in life, it's a 50-50 chance of success. Those aren't good odds, okay? It's wouldn't you rather at least have an 85 chance of success, 85% chance of success?
I want to make it clear that you can be super successful and not even go to college because
most people are.
I honestly, if you don't need a degree, don't waste the money. If you don't need it, don't do it because frankly, especially with art, it's just a kind of waste of time. Unless you're doing education or doctor or lawyer or something you absolutely have to have a degree. If you don't have to have it, don't bother with it. And that's what I don't people understand. And then if you can go into things that are more blue collar jobs, I would recommend doing that if that's something you're into because there's such a shortage that it's going to be like that episode of South Park where everybody's going to pay it. They're going to be the new elite. So I'm just
yeah. No, that's
if
true.
you can do that. You do not have to go to college. If you can get an apprenticeship somewhere, do that. If you can get certification and with tech school training, do that. You don't have to go to college to be successful. And honestly, you might be more successful because these colleges are a money laundering racket.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's so you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on where you go, to get trained to be completely mediocre. Right. And then you're going to get plugged into the system.
You're never going to pay that student loan off.
You're never going to pay that student loan off. They'll make sure of it, right? It's going to be decades until you pay that shit off. You'll pay your house up before you pay your student loan off in a lot of cases, right? So you look at people who are super successful, billionaires, millionaires, business owners. nobody can teach that. They're trying to be like, oh, we're going to teach you how. It's like, I'm sorry. If you were really that good at business or that good at whatever, you probably wouldn't be teaching it. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like you'd be out there running a business. You'd be out there running a corporation.
Our son went for business, which we've mentioned before. And when he was in there, he would come home and tell us the stories about these teachers. And I was just like, huh? That's what they're telling you? And
Yeah.
then, like, they're not teaching you this. No, I'm like, that's basic stuff. Why am I paying for this?
I know.
Frankly, I was like, what am I paying
I was kind of looking at like all the stuff he was doing. I'm like, this is busy work. And some of the stuff they had him doing, I'm like, I will tell you, as somebody who's worked in corporate America for most of my adult life, you will never fucking use any of this. None of this. This is not even this. None of this has any application whatsoever to running a business or being a manager or I don't even understand. They're just trying to fill up the dead space with a bunch of busy work to justify collecting a check from you. And then you get your piece of paper and it gets kicked out anyway because, for whatever reason.
No, he had other teachers who were doing guest lectures in other countries all over the world because they've written like massive papers and books on there. And he had those teachers that were very, very qualified. And next to a teacher that was like, one was a nurse filling in for somebody and it was for a class that should have been a business person. It was just mind blowing to me. But anyway, the point is these colleges are doing this because they want more money. Yeah. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to be like, you get a mental health semester.
A mental health semester. I wish I could have a mental health semester. I wish I could be like, the internet's being mean to me today. I'm just not gonna do anything for a month.
I still get paid. I still get paid.
But I still get paid for it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
This is what was happening. Like at Twitter, people were going off for like a month at a time on mental health breaks.
Yeah,
What's a mental health break?
I know. I actually went private on Twitter because I'm tired of dealing with people, but it's not a mental health break. It's an efficiency break because I'm like, I am spending too much time fighting with stupid people and it does nothing but hurt me. So I'm.
Well, you were making money at one point, but now
I'm not even making money. Yeah, if I was making money off of stupid people, I'd be like, yeah, because I am very much capitalist.
Like, we'll take money because you're dumb.
I'll take your hate pennies. Now it's like, now I'm not even getting paid for it, so fuck it. I don't care. It's not worth the aggravation.
So this is a long video, but it's a Sunday, so here we are.
There we are. Are we gonna wrap it up?
Yes. Sorry, so long.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.